So this is the reboot, EP2 reboot off the Mark version. Man, if at first you don't succeed,
dust yourself off and try again.
Fuck, man. Like, I don't know how many iterations of podcasts I've tried, but you know what? I just keep coming back to it because, like, the idea space, I keep thinking about. Thank you for back in the day. I don't know how many years ago it was, where you recommended the Naval Ravikant, Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
Like, that just sent me down a Naval rabbit hole.
I love it.
And then it spun off into other people. But the reason why that came up was because in one of his podcasts, it might have even been the Joe Rogan one, because I've listened to that about 4 or 5 times. That's just freaking oral gold, right? But he says, like, ideas are like the new gold, right? Like 20 years ago, it was gold, it was oil. Like, resources now are like ideas, information, innovation. Creativity. So I keep coming back to, I got to do a podcast. Podcast scale.
Yeah.
You know, we got an audience, a potential audience of everybody that has a cell phone on the globe, right? Yeah. So then it's our job now to, I was talking to Weezy before you came about, you need to get like a board and put like when we come up with these expressions.
Isms.
Yeah, these isms. So I was like, when he came in, I don't know what spawned it. We were talking about, you know, stay ready, ain't got to get ready.
That's right.
You know, we all kind of, we three of us kind of live by that motto, right? So I'm like, that has to go on the board.
Yeah.
And then I was telling another one I read this morning because I'm really deep into Spinoza right now.
Okay.
And so Spinoza has this line where he says, rarity plus difficulty equals excellence, right? R plus D equals E. So I was like, we got to get a board, man, of all these expressions and these, not that we're like, I don't believe in telling anybody what to do. Like, you don't need to drink what I drink. You don't need to eat what I eat. You don't need to like work out how I work out. You ain't got to dress how I dress. You ain't got to do none of that shit. Just be the best version of you. That's my fucking advice. That's like when Bruce Lee back in the day said that.
It's more it's like advice for ourselves. You know what I mean? We
ain't
giving
I
anyone else
ain't giving nobody no code. It's like Wyatt said in fucking Tombstone. I ain't giving you no code of conduct, but just take care of yourselves.
Let's see how many 90s references you'll get before this episode is over with us.
Yeah, keep track.
Yeah, it's going to be great. I love that, though. I mean, that's really what it is. And it's trip, like how much these philosophical ideas from years and years and years and years ago still have relevance today, right? Almost in a little way, bite-sized way. I feel like what we're doing here, our contributions will be like that maybe 10, 15 years from now. Maybe somebody will have that aha moment based on something we say in the forthcoming episodes. So this is great.
Yeah, we always got a lot of stuff. I got a lot of stuff to say. I don't know. You put a mic on, the lokes come on, the character come out. But,
right.
Yeah, I mean, there's plenty to say. We've lived and experienced some shit. Like,
facts.
We're from the bottom up.
That's right.
I was talking to Weezy, and I think I sent this to you guys in a text. I can't remember, but it was like I was talking to Weezy about. I was listening to this Jared Kushner interview on Lex Friedman, and you know he had recommended a couple books to Lex, and a couple of the books I had read, and I'm thinking to myself, and Jared Kushner, like, motherfucker's like $100 million in the bank, but he grew up Silver Spoon. Dad was a businessman involved in the political machine in New Jersey, right? And I'm like. And I was listening to an interview for him because he's talking about the Middle East. I'm like, this dude's really smart, man. And he's just laying out all this knowledge. But I'm like, we're kind of getting to the same point, just coming from different directions.
Yeah.
Like, he's coming from a top-down approach. Yep. And I was telling Weezy, I'm like, we're coming from the bottom up.
That's it.
You know what I mean? Like, and I think ours is a little more authentic because, most people don't have $50 million in the bank.
Yeah.
Most people are in our financial territory, right? So that's why I think, like, what we're doing is important because it can resonate. Because by all accounts, we're successful.
Yep.
Right? You're successful because you're free. Right? You're successful because you dictate your schedule. You're successful because not one person can tell you what to do on a daily basis.
Facts.
Right? Then the rest is just money comes and goes, man.
Yeah, it does.
But time is like most valuable currency.
1,000%. And we've been talking about that ad nauseum from the outset. I think that part of why we grinded the way that we did is to have the freedoms that we have now. And, I side with you on that 100%. I always was a big believer in experiences having more value than, materials. So I was never somebody that wanted to work to chase the materials. I was always somebody that worked to chase the experience. And the experience of being able to wake up and get some side action because it's Saturday morning.
You gotta be, and you gotta be fit to get the side action.
Yeah, you can't have
rolling,
that belly.
Yeah, you can't be rolling over, pulling an oblique.
You gotta get that side action on a Saturday morning right before kickoff, man. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's freedom. There's a lot of motherfuckers that can't do that. There's a lot of people that got to get up at 8:30 on Saturday and they couldn't sleep. Right, because the baby kept them up, and they didn't actually get sound rest until 4. And now they got.
I get my sleep.
Yeah,
I get my sleep.
You got 2 little ones at home, so I mean,
and I get that side action. Kiko, look at him, yes sir. It's good to be back.
That's how we got the kid, was the side action. Motherfucker rolling over, pulling that Beto out.
Oh, man. So what's going on in the world these days?
I think
some heavy shit going on right now, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not no geopolitical expert, but I think
That's why we're called off the mark.
Off the mark, right?
We are no expert.
Obviously, it's a very complicated thing that goes back thousands of years, right? And it's, America.
What are we talking about here?
We're talking about the Middle East, right?
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's the most pressing thing right now because, like the smallest flicker can start as forest fire. And you just never know the times in which you're living in. Like if tomorrow the shit hits the fan, say like you woke up August 1st, 1914, World War I.
How about that?
You woke up December 7th, 1941, right? And now you're at war with Germany and Japan. Or you woke up in Poland in 1939. You got a fucking blitzkrieg going on from Germany, right?
See, my man know a little bit.
So my point is this, is like what's going on in the Middle East is really tenuous right now because like your big geopolitical players are like using everybody else's like chess pieces, right? So, obviously Israel is in the European, American corner, right? And we're kind of nudging them, supplying them with money and weapons and resources and have been for a very long time.
Yep.
And then you got Hamas, Hezbollah, and then that Middle East consortium, right, who are backed by Iran, who's backed by Russia, who's backed by China. So, I mean, you say, who's benefiting from this conflict right now? China and Russia.
That's the biggest question right there. That seemingly nobody is asking.
Yeah.
Right?
Russia's like, this is great. So you're going to divert resources away from the Ukraine to Israel. Mm-hmm. Awesome. And then you got China that's like, oh, America's distracted with Ukraine. America's distracted with what's going on in the Gaza Strip and the West Bank and the Middle East. When do we make our move on Taiwan?
I know. We're stretched thin, aren't we?
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. So I'm like, very, very, very tenuous and precarious times in which we're living in. Like the smallest thing. Like you think about what kickstarted World War I was an assassination in like Serbia, just a small little runt country that had nothing to do with anything, but the alliances, right, that had been set up said if this country goes to war with this country, then we have to come back in against that country. And it's just like people would just fight each other for no goddamn reason. They're at war because it's just alliances. Yeah. So my point is like, I don't know who's right, who's wrong. I think the innocent killing of people, whether it's in Palestine or Israel, is wrong. But at the same time, I try to hold judgment, condemn violence, condemn murders on either side, and then just kind of see how things kind of play out, especially since we're not on the ground and there's a lot of hands moving a lot of pieces that we just don't know about, for me to sit here and say on the surface level, those guys are wrong, these guys are right.
Absolutely, yeah. Just got to stay ready, though.
Stay ready ain't got to get ready.
Facts.
Right?
There's something that I was reading the other day that brought to mind. It's a great metaphor, right? And it goes like this. The 4 monkeys were placed in a room that had a tall pole in the center, right? Suspended from the top of that pole was a bunch of bananas. One of the hungry monkeys started climbing the pole to get something to eat. But just as he reached out to grab a banana, he was doused with a bucket of cold water. Squealing, he scampered down the pole and abandoned his attempt to feed himself. Each monkey made a similar attempt, and each one was drenched with cold water. And after making several attempts, they all finally gave up. Then the researchers removed one of the monkeys from the room and replaced him with a new monkey. And as the newcomer began to climb the pole, the other 3 grabbed him, right? And they pulled him down to the ground. After trying to climb the pole several times and being dragged down by the others, he finally gave up, never attempted to climb again. And the researchers replaced the original monkey one by one, and each time a new monkey was brought in, he would be dragged down by the others before he could reach the bananas. But in time, the room was filled with monkeys who had never received a cold shower, right? However, none of them would climb the pole, and none of them knew why.
Wow.
You know what I mean? And that's what happens. Like, what kind of person are you hanging with? What kind of monkeys are you hanging with? And do they build you up? Do they tear you down? But I see all of this playing out in real time, right? We get to a point in society where we don't even know why we don't like each other. We don't know why we have these microaggressions. You know, it's just in us for whatever reason.
For some reason.
And it's just monkey story.
When it doesn't even exist.
Well, I think it goes back to, we're like prisoners of the moment and hostages of the time in which we live in, right? If you think about it, modern man, like, has really only been around for 200 years, 300 years, either like post-industrial revolution, right? The scientific method. This is all pretty recent, right? And if you go before that, things didn't change too much, right? And so you were battling, my point is like you were battling over scarce resources, whether it was women, whether it was food, whether it was housing. Huh? I don't know. Motherfuckers doing something.
Yeah, it was. I've been hearing it actually I thought it was part of the feedback.
I think it just started.
No, it's
like outside. It's not in here.
Yeah, it's like water or something.
Yeah, they might be doing something outside. But yeah, so I think crime and violence over time is starting to dissipate. I don't think, because resources now are more available than they've ever been.
Yep.
Unfortunately, we're still working through our primitive mindset where you got something that I want, I club you for it, right?
Yeah, we got these old brains still.
We got these old brains.
Right?
I mean, millions of years of evolution, and we're trying to rewire,
right?
Within a couple generations, right? We're trying to like reprogram like our DNA sequencing, right? We're trying to rearrange those 4 letters, and it's going to take more time, more evolution.
Right, we're supposed to be civilized now, right?
Well, I mean, so I had this thing, I was thinking about the Middle East, and I was like correlating it with like Colorado football success.
Oh, God, I like this. This is good.
And because I read this morning, and it was like, so Deion just got like the number 4 quarterback in the country for recruiting class 2025. And this is what made me think about this. Over Alabama, over LSU, over Clemson, like Colorado for 20 years was like this dormant, moribund program. Last year, they were one of the worst programs in FBS.
Yep.
What changed?
One person.
Primetime came in.
Yep.
And so I looked at it like, okay, he got this black kid from the South, right? And he was able to relate to him through values, through tribal values, right? Like, black culture is alive and well in Colorado. Say it loud, I'm black and I'm proud, James Brown.
Right.
I can guarantee you that kid chose that. Colorado Deion, black culture over Nick Saban, Dabo Sweeney.
Yeah.
Over those major programs, man.
Yeah.
You're talking like in one recruiting cycle.
Yep.
Right? So we're very tribal as people. And we're going to affiliate and associate with things that kind of resonate with us. That's the genius of what Deion's doing. Right? Because you're not going to get Lil Wayne on the sideline at Alabama.
Come on, he's getting everybody out there.
He's getting everybody, right? And so I correlated that what's going on in the Middle East, right? In the Middle East, you got this ideological struggle.
All right, we got to hear this real quick.
Based on religion, Exactly.
That's perfect.
You be you. Amen.
Amen.
That's
the
best
gospel
part.
right there.
I already feel good about me.
Love that.
Yeah, so if you think about it, it's like, in the Middle East, it's the same thing, man. Like, they're tribal, Shiites, Sunnis, Jews, Arabs, right? Turkish, and they're going to affiliate and associate like with their own first, right?
No doubt.
And then it creates these divisions and it creates these scarce resources. So in college football, these players are just scarce resources to these major programs. So Deion's just like, I can win that recruiting battle because I can resonate and speak that language that Nick Saban can't.
Yeah. And it's because he's been there and done that, right?
Right. I mean, you got to be successful.
You can't. I mean, Nick Saban, and this isn't. I love. I mean, I'm from the South originally, right?
Yeah.
So I love the Roll Tide wave, and I love what he's been able to do with the football program. But a person like me, if I'm that kid being recruited, I want to go somewhere where I actually have the opportunity to shift and influence the culture. I don't want to walk into something that has already been done, 100 times, and not and be a position player, not have a name, not have a voice, have to just get in and get down or lay down type thing. I love the idea of being able to create change, create culture, right? Shift people's mindset. So, you have that aspect. And then the other aspect is, like, I want to, if I'm playing football and I want to play it at the biggest clip, why wouldn't I want to be coached by one of the best to ever do it?
But not only that, but do it in a way, right, where you're fully expressive.
That's it.
Where you're not. I think that's the genius of what Deion's doing. He's doing it, but he's not saying that's what he's doing, right? Because he's got to walk and he's got to thread that needle, right? We're going to be the blackest program in Division I football, but he's not saying that. But if you look at how the program's being run, that's what's happening.
Got to walk it like you talk it, right?
Yeah.
I come in. There's no coach coming in blenders and a baseball cap, right?
Yeah.
With the hood up and the chains out.
Yeah.
Rolling on a Achilles scooter. Like, that ain't happening nowhere else, in college football. Maybe Miami, right? Their coach, he's a little swaggy.
Yeah.
But outside of that, it's not really happening. So
yeah, so
shout out to Colorado. We gotta catch a game. They're actually playing SC in a little bit.
They are in a couple weeks.
Yeah, so I'm gonna be down.
No, not SC. They already played SC.
Oh, UCLA.
Yeah.
That's what I meant. Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, it's next week, I think, because I'll be down there. It's
You're
Saturday.
right.
Yeah.
You're right.
So
it was just a tectonic shift, man. I saw that, and I'm just like, why is that happening? And underneath the surface level, it's just tribal. It's you want to associate with your kind first.
Yeah.
And you have all these people battling over scarce resources. No different than what's going on in the Middle East. We're potentially World War III over a fucking 25-mile strip of land.
That's the trip.
Because they can't create a two-state solution.
Yeah. They can, but they don't want to.
They don't want to.
Because somebody loses.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Somebody ends up losing. And that's what it all boils down to. And I think that's the biggest travesty of it all.
And the thing is, this is like, I'll take it another layer, because the economy isn't doing well, right? Maybe we had some hand in maybe, giving some information or supplying some people some stuff or giving some people some stuff to start a war to kind of distract what's going on, right? It is an election year, too.
Yeah.
And
it's not like that ain't never happened before.
And that war bring that paper back.
Man. Military contractors.
Come on, man.
That's what I was thinking when you said who's benefiting.
Yeah.
Raytheon, maybe.
So you got to look at it all I'm not saying anything, but I'm like, you have to, it's not zero. Like, it's not zero probability.
You're not saying anything, but you're saying something.
Absolutely. You have to think about that, because that's the world we live in. Someone's benefiting, right? It's just transfer of energy. Someone's losing, someone's benefiting.
Karl Marx said history repeats itself, and first as a tragedy and then second as a farce.
Nice. Right? I think we're in those farce moments, right?
So it'll be interesting to see how it all plays out.
Yeah, but fuck Marx, though.
You got two Marks right here, but fuck Marx.
Because I'm like, Marx is so wrong with his economic theory, because it only works on an individual level, right? Each according to his needs, each according to his abilities.
Yep.
Man, communism at the national level, the next time it doesn't end with 100 million people dead, come talk to me.
Right. Yeah.
Right? Because you see what the government does with our resources.
Yep.
Right? We didn't have a central bank until 1914. Now we got a central bank. They get us off the gold standard, and then they just print as fucking much money as they want.
Yeah.
And they're going to print us into oblivion, right? And eventually we're going to collapse. Hopefully not in our lifetime.
Yeah.
But we basically just gave them a license to do whatever they want. What's a central government? It's fucking communism. So you're seeing it at its best right now, or at its worst. So I'm like, Marx can go somewhere, man, because, when you're young, you think in ideological terms, right? But then when you think about it practically, you're like, it's like when you did those homework groups back in the day, and you had like maybe 5 kids, and only 3 of the kids would do the work, and the other 2 kids would kind of freeload and get that A.
Yeah.
Like, if you weren't supportive of that, you're not a communist.
Right. That's great.
Because you're like, you did not put your work in.
That's an elementary, that is great. That is great. Right, because that's really what it is and what it boils down to.
Yeah.
Right, and that's why it couldn't work on a large scale.
I was talking to my daughter because she was audiological, and she, you don't know, you got to experience some shit, right? And she's all about sharing and caring, and I get it. I love her, man. She's a very caring person, and I'm like, well, that only goes so far. I'm like, because she works in sales. I'm like, are you splitting your check with everybody else at work? She's like, no, why would I do that? That's what communism is, right? You just kind of spread the wealth. Even though you work harder than they do,
right?
And you generate more sales than they do. Everybody gets the same.
Man, seems so clear now, right?
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
I mean, something like that. It just doesn't work with 330 million people.
It works for your family.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it works for your family. In your household, communism works 1,000%. In your church, communism works. The redistribution works. National level doesn't work. Because you got the human element, man.
Yeah.
And
that's the biggest X factor.
Yeah.
Is that.
And you're gonna give these people all this money. It's the reverse of what Charlie Munger said about taking a basket of money through the ghetto. He's like, it's a crime to do that because you are literally like taunting and tempting, right, and tormenting poor people by running around with this basket of money. It's the mirror image of that in the sense like I'm gonna give all these politicians like all this money, and I'm expecting them to do something virtuous with it. Man, like money's power, right?
That's right.
And power corrupts absolutely, is what they say.
That's what they say.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
Think about it before it gets got.
Man, that's the addendum. That's the EPT. That's the EP2 reboot. Where
Think about it and go get it before it gets got.
Think about it and go get it was EP. And now it's like think about it and go get it before it gets got.
You better go get it before you get got.
Man, and you look, everybody like.
How are you spelling gat?
Shit.
GYAT. That's how the kids say it.
A gat.
Yeah, man.
Man, just watch the gym. I used to have this theory. There's like this. I can't remember how many W's it was. It was like wallet. It was a 3W principle. It was the wallet. Because I've seen all these things happen in the gym, right? This is back at 24-hour fitness, like back in the day.
Good old days.
Yeah.
Shout out to Craig and Clayton,
man.
Yeah.
So I was like, the 3W principle, right, at the gym was like weight, wallet, woman. Because I've seen all three get got.
Yeah. Facts.
And sometimes in one transaction.
Facts. Might have been me.
Yeah, because it's like, you're in Northtown, so, man, don't go in the gym with your wallet. Don't even leave that motherfucker in the car. Like, right?
Hell no.
And then woman's always getting hollered at, right? I bagged a couple myself.
Yeah.
And then, or someone would roll up on your weights and start taking some shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's human nature, right? In a very microscopic level. Just watch the gym.
Yeah.
That's all you need to know. You want to know how dudes are. You want to know how women are. Just watch the fucking gym.
North Vegas.
Isn't that interesting, like how much that ecosystem plays into real life? Like when you sit back and actually look at the moving pieces, the parts, the players, you know what governs what's acceptable versus what isn't. Like you can just be at a gym, right? At a Lifetime Fitness, at a LVAC.
You don't have to go that far.
And you can see the way the world works.
Yeah, there it is.
from 30 minutes on the
Right
Stairmaster.
Yeah. You can see just how the economic system works.
Yeah.
We're talking about, capitalism, democracy versus communism, socialism. And it's like, if you go in the gym, put the work, you get results. That other person don't get results. I can work out as hard as I want. That other dude's not getting results.
Yep.
You just can't share at that level, right? Like, no matter how hard I work out, you ain't getting in better shape.
Yeah.
Right? And that's I think the test case for the gym.
I can buy you a treadmill, but you got to still
put the work in,
right.
It's totally on you, right?
Right.
Totally on you. Like I can't socialize my gains, right?
Yeah.
To help you like get in better shape.
Well, not all of them, but some of them you can. And so here's what I would say: if this guy sees us, the three of us, getting after it in our own different ways, and he's showing up every day, but he's not reaping the physical benefits, maybe the inspiration does enough for him, right? To where he could say, maybe in a different arena in my life, I can, reap this 10x.
So you're saying it's through osmosis.
100%, because, you're going to be the sum of the people that are closest to you. And if that guy just happens to be closest to us because he shares the fondness of rising with the sun and getting it done in his own little way,
Right.
he may not reap the physical benefits, right?
Gotcha.
But he may get that mental piece.
Yeah.
So that dovetails. That's a Mark Harrisism.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So the best dividend is health,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so it's the Deion Sanders: look good, feel good, play good, get paid good.
That's right.
So like, there's so many different benefits that come off of just performing in the gym. And like, here's what guys don't understand that you guys understand. I understand. Like, I can go to the gym, work out, put my work in, look fly doing it, and own my time, own my space. It's like you were saying, you work out on the third floor, you ain't fuck with nobody. You're
Right.
like, I'm getting that workout in, right?
Yeah.
We'll catch up when we catch up.
Yep.
Bro, if you want to get women, that's the way to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you staring at a chick, you hollering at a chick every time she comes in, that ain't doing it.
Mm-mm.
Like, she wants to see you work.
Yeah, right.
Right? And then she wants to see you in good shape.
That's right.
That way you ain't got to spend money
That's right.
to get a chick.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because if I have to spend money to get a chick, all that means is I'm only as good as the next motherfucker that runs by with some money. Right?
Yeah.
Because that's what you're attracting.
Mm.
Now it's like they're attracted to you for a totally different reason.
Mm-hmm.
Like the way you come in, you got your stilo, right?
Yeah.
You got your work ethic.
Right.
And then you're like Barry Sanders, man, when he scored a touchdown,
Love that.
right? Act like you've been there.
That's right.
Hand the ball to the ref.
That's it.
And it's not only act like you've been there. No, you getting back.
That's right. That part. I love me some Barry Sanders, man.
That's the biggest takeaway is like, bro, if you go to the gym every day, put the work in, like all the benefits will accrue to you because I put the work in that day. It wasn't the first time I did that. This isn't my first rodeo.
Mm-hmm.
And I know I'm coming back tomorrow to put the same goddamn work in, if not more.
Man, that compound interest is a mofo, man.
Yeah, man.
It really does some great things, you know. What about the guy? What about the person that's listening to this and say, "No, you guys got it wrong. I'm paying these girls to leave." Because you got that small. You know.
That's a whole different cheat code, man. I just ain't privy to that cheat code, brother. That's another level of society.
Yeah, that's something I'm not like.
Yeah.
I can't relate to that right now.
I'm paying them to leave. I'm not.
Well, you know, I was telling you about that client. That's
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah.
if I ever run into that dude again, because he's like a hothead kind of cat, I'm gonna be like, I just treated you like a bitch. Like I literally paid you fucking $2,800 to fucking leave.
Yeah.
Like, how does that feel as a man?
Mm.
How's that feel as a man? I just fucking gave you, you know what? I'm gonna take 40 cents off the fucking dollar because as a man, you can't pay your fucking bill and said, go on and get out. Don't let the door hit you on the way out. Just fucking go.
So now you have a little bit of that experience and you can speak to that.
Yeah.
Man.
True pimp never spend no dough on the booty.
That's it, man.
Right? Mason Betham had it back in the day.
Man, shout out to Mace. It's good to see him and Cameron back together doing their thing. You know, they got a podcast now.
Didn't know that.
They just it's doing really, really well, man. They just inked that, I think, like a 7-figure deal for it as well. So it's cool to see those guys getting the type of money they should have gotten back in the 90s. And it's one of those things that just blends really, really well. You know, it's a suede and leather type. It looks good, it feels good. Right? Like people are attracted to it. Like I don't Mason and Puffy, you know, I liked that, but I knew that wouldn't work, right? Cameron and Joel Santana and Jim Jones, it's like, yeah, it's a good placehold, right? But it's not like, it ain't like, you know, Johnny Gill, he ain't Bobby Brown. They still had some great hits when he came to the group, New Edition, but it wasn't like Bobby.
Yeah, Johnny Gill can't do it on his own, man, because that motherfucker was singing every song like it was the end of the national anthem.
Love me some Johnny Gill, man.
Yeah, he would carry that shit on, though. And he would build up, too.
Love me some
He was
Johnny
like, he was a poor man's Teddy Pendergrass. Because, you know, Teddy would kick in.
P, yeah.
You know, and then he was talking about, like, he would talk to you all calm, and then by the end of the song, he was talking about fucking burn me with some fucking hot oils. I'm like, God damn, how did you go from, like, you know, light the candles and turn on some soft music and whisper into fucking, you want some scalding hot oils dropped in your body.
Right, man. But that shit worked with Teddy P, man. I don't know how he made it work, but it worked. Hey, you guys need to listen to Johnny Gill, Rub You the Right Way.
Oh, man.
Ooh,
That's a song.
That is a song for you right there. I mean, that is going to bang in the gym, in the bedroom, in the car, wherever.
Rub you the right way.
Oh, it's just such a great record.
Dude, that's funny.
Yeah.
That's funny. That like takes me back to high school, man.
Yes, it does.
Man, I tell you, it's like we live in, like when you're talking about Mace and them getting paid now, it's like it's a great time to be an artist.
Yeah.
You know, because basically the dematerialization of like the middleman, right, and technology has all the benefits are accruing to the artist now. Like just bypass stuff like what we're doing. Like hopefully this scales one day, but we don't need any attorneys, any managers, right?
It's
that
plug and play.
Plug and play that are going to get a piece of what it is that we're doing because they're not, you know, beaming this information out. It's a great time to live. I was having this conversation last night where it's like, you know, like you said, it's plug and play. It's like back in the day, if you wanted distribution,
man,
you needed hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars,
man,
right, to get on the radio, to get on the TV. Now, people aren't even on radio or TV anymore. Everybody's on social media. You got a phone, you download the app, and if you got something that goes viral, boom.
You own.
Yep.
And I think it's a great thing because, you know, there's a lot of legal jargon that isn't in the average person's lexicon that would allow you to get jerked so that if you did have that opportunity.
Like Malcolm X get hoodwinked.
Man, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
because you don't even know. They're like, they put this out there to kind of obfuscate what's really going on. It's like you said, I got all this huge legal document I'm supposed to be able to read
and understand
as a trained fucking attorney, and I don't know. They're just saying, "Hey, sign here," and then the next thing you know, right, you're getting hosed like fucking TLC.
Right, man, that is terrible, but it's so true.
Yeah,
which is why I'm excited about where we are, man. I feel like, you know, part of being an outlier is being born into what we've been born into generationally. So why not leverage these tools to, you know, get the messaging out? And it's not to say either of us have this super ego where we want to be recognized or we want to. There's a little bit of I want to put my finger in your face and say I told you so.
Oh, dude.
There's a little bit of that, right? But that isn't ego for me. That's just being, you know, held down for so long and a person not seeing your vision. Like, that ain't an ego thing because this didn't happen overnight, right? I've been working towards this. I think that it ain't bragging if you could do it. Do you know what I'm saying? 100%. Ain't no ego about that, man.
It's not showing off if you can do it.
Ain't no ego about that.
Yeah.
I'm just reporting.
Yeah.
I'm telling you the straight facts.
Yeah.
So my thing is, you know, it's a good time to be in because I feel like there's somebody that's going to see something in this that's going to resonate with them in a way that allows them to improve the fabric of our culture, right?
Yeah, and I think, you know, when we first tried to do this, I don't know, who knows where we'd be at if we'd stuck with it.
I know. I'm still a little butthurt about that, but that's another episode.
But what I can say is, like, you know, we're more refined.
Yeah.
We have a lot more experiences. We have a lot more resources, and we're a little bit smarter in our approach. And I think we're all a little more entrenched in what it is that we're doing. Like when we first met, I had just started my company, right? Didn't know if I was going to make it. I was within the first year living off of like 401k and stuff like that, right?
Yep.
5 years later, obviously doing better. Obviously, you guys are doing better. Kiko's knee deep into his company as well. And we're all self-sufficient, sovereign individuals, which is a great book, by the way, Sovereign Individuals. When we start doing show notes, we'll put that in there.
No doubt.
That's a book you'll definitely want to check out, especially as the world continues to disaggregate, dematerialize, and now people are becoming more free, right? Where it used to be, I think Rousseau wrote in The Social Contract, he was like, man's born free, but everywhere he's in chains.
Yep.
Now you're born free, and if you're born into a country like America, like, man, you can do it any whatever you want, whoever you want, no matter when.
You won the lottery, basically.
Yeah, because think about, like, do whoever you want. Now, I don't care if you're LGBTQ. I don't care if you're gay. My philosophy's always been more women for me, right? But I don't do you, right? I'll tell you where you can't do you. You can't do you in the Middle East. You can't do you in it. I just read today, like, India banned that, LGBTQ. You can't do it in China.
There's nowhere else to go.
Nope. Like, you can't protest in those countries like you do
maybe
here.
Canada.
Yeah, look, America's got warts, right? We definitely got our warts, but we're a work in process. And man, you got liberties here that you just don't have around. We're the best of the worst. And I ain't going nowhere else, man. You know?
Yeah. I mean, not long term.
I mean, look at Jack Ma. What happened to Jack Ma? Jack Ma came out, was making a bunch of money. Like, he's like the Jeff Bezos of China.
Right.
And then
Alibaba, right?
Yeah, he was starting to get a little bit of freedom.
Yep.
And then just disappeared off the grid.
Yeah.
Because Xi Jinping is like, we're not having that. You're not going to be an individual in this country.
Yeah.
Xi cares about economics to the point enough to enrich his country, but not like we care about economics. He will fucking bankrupt his country if it means more power to him and more fucking geopolitical prowess, right, across the globe.
And we're talking about a guy that's worth $25 billion.
At least.
Wow.
I would say he's probably worth whatever he wants to be worth because he got to fucking barrel the gun to your head.
You know what I mean? So
because he comes straight from that
some
Mao
money.
Zedong where it's like, yeah, fucking power, the barrel the gun.
Wow.
The barrel the gun is power. Might is right.
That's motherfucker said Mao Zedong.
Man, that's where she comes from. He comes from that cloth. Hey, bro. Hey, Mao Zedong.
The fuck?
That dude starved like hundreds of millions of people
to
sell grain to Russia for weapons. Look at the Great Famine in the 1960s for China.
That is good.
So, anyways,
that's gold.
There you go, brother.
How's my boy start off this podcast saying that he's not a geopolitical expert? He knows all this shit. He's like, bro, go to Jeopardy.
I know a few things.
You forgot a few letters though now because LGBTQIA+.
Yeah, I'll remember some Mao Zedong, but I won't remember LBG. Don't at me LGBTQ. Just
IA+.
Yeah. What I'm saying is like I'm glad you guys are here and you get to express yourself and you get your freedoms.
Right.
You know, and a lot of things that people don't understand about same sex is like, man, that stuff's as old as people, right? And it was way more prevalent and pronounced, especially like in Greek and Roman culture. Like they were doing like
freaks come
turning
out
on the
at
side
night.
There was a girl, and then they turned the other side to be a boy.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, I'm right now in the mornings. My 20 minutes of grow period is Meditations by Marcus Aurelius. Right, and if you break down some of that stuff, like that was happening.
He had a manservant. He had a boy servant.
That was happening.
Yeah. It was socially acceptable.
Yeah.
It wasn't until basically when the Roman Empire adopted Christianity, right? And then, basically you can't be gay, one man, one woman, because before then it was just polygamy up the ass. You could have as many women as you wanted, right? And then, the teachings of Christ came along and said, no, one woman, one man, being married is a virtue, right?
Yep.
Being married is like the highest goal in having relationships and stuff like that. So that stuff flipped on the dime. But prior to Christ, it was like a free-for-all, man. Absolute free-for-all. So shout out to us letting people do whatever they want to do whenever they want to do it.
It's important, man.
Yeah.
We're impulsive as human beings, and I feel you should be encouraged to be as expressive as you need to be in order to, have this human experience, because we're all these spiritual beings just having this human experience, right? Like, why would you want to shortchange that for anybody?
Yeah, and we don't know. One of the biggest takeaways I took from, I told you I was reading Spinoza, and we talked about rarity plus difficulty equals excellence, right? R plus D equals E. The reason why Spinoza resonates with me is I always tell people, man, the universe don't care in the sense that about like our anthropomorphic way we look at things, right? And ascribe like human values to stuff and like how we say, this is good, this is bad, this is a sin, this is evil. That's just a construct that we kind of come up with and we make up on ourselves, right? Because for the longest time, millions of years, might was right. If I was stronger than you, I got the woman, I got the resources, and that lasted for millions of years. We've evolved to the point where now it's like, I just can't go over there and rip what you got from you because society says that's bad, that's wrong, you're committing a crime. So we try to layer that to like everything else, to nature and to like the universe and the cosmos, and it just doesn't fit. It's like us going down to the Middle East and trying to say, hey, we're a Western democracy, here's some money, solve your problems. And they're like, no, you don't understand. Like, this is theological. This is Sunni versus Shia. Like, we don't care about money. It's that scene in Man on Fire.
Yeah.
Remember Man on Fire?
Yeah. Shout out to Denzel.
and the voice is like, how much do you want? And Denzel's like, I don't want your money. And the guy's like, huh? And then he blows his brother's hand off.
Yeah,
and he's like, you hear that? You hear that? I don't want your money. I want you. I will tear you brick by brick and piece by piece. I don't want your money. That's the Middle East. So when like we're going down there giving them money, they're like, Denzel, they don't want our money.
Mm-hmm. No, I think you hit the nail on the head. The theology of it, the history of it. You know, if you take time to go all the way back, figure out what that actually means to those people in that area. Yeah, you're 100% right.
Yeah, it's just crazy, man.
It is.
And I don't know if it's something that we can fix, but we're down there for geopolitical reasons, oil, right?
Yeah,
There's key ports and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And so, you know, it's like
masking it to be something that it's not.
Brother, we're trying to put Band-Aid on a cancer.
Yeah, you can't do that.
You know, you can't.
It doesn't work that way.
It doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
Well, do you think at some point oil is not going to be a factor because of the electrification of things, or is it still like prevalent because, you know, we have jets?
I think for a while it's going to be, but I think at some point in time we'll probably wean ourselves off it. Like oil ain't getting us to be an interstellar species, right? And I think Elon.
Well, what's going to blast us off of this earth, though?
They'll figure it out.
They'll figure it out.
With the battery?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know. But I mean,
so you might be looking at a combination of things. I mean, I'm not smart enough to figure that stuff out. They got to figure something out because right now, you know, we don't have enough energy, right, to even come close to say like the speed of light. Not even like a fraction of it, right? And so like we just barely have enough to get the fuck off the earth, right? It takes more energy just to like lift off than it does to like get out of the atmosphere. I can't remember what the math was on that.
No, but that's right. I mean, that's a good analogy and a good metaphor for life too, right? The pressure it takes just to break through. Like,
exit velocity.
Yeah.
Yeah. Isn't that a book that you told me about, Exit Velocity?
No, it was something I heard from Reid Hoffman, who was part of the PayPal Mafia, and then he had this Masters of Scale. And so I was listening to Masters of Scale, and he would always say exit velocity. And I was like, I was thinking about rockets, and I was like to your point, right? You got the imagery in your head, man. Like it takes a lot to start.
Yep.
So like with your business, right? Think about when you first started.
Dude, so many micro skills that you have to learn. You know, that takes an enormous amount of energy.
And that's just one facet.
Yeah.
The other facet is proof of concept.
Yes.
The other facet is getting other people to believe in your proof of concept.
Exactly.
The other facet is selling that motherfucker at a price point where you're making money and supporting the family.
Right.
And you go like how you got to start with the skills. Then you got to go to proof of concept. Then you got to get others to believe in your proof of concept, right? You're going with that like, then you got to sell that motherfucker and make some money.
And on top of all that, you got to build that relationship, right? That's the one thing I learned working at Lifetime. It's like, how do you keep your people? You know what I mean? How do you get that? How do you keep that recurring like payment?
Right. It's cheaper to keep somebody than it is to bring somebody new in, right?
And I learned that at Lifetime before I knew anything.
Yeah.
Yeah. Shout out to Lifetime, us being trainers, working that.
I was always a I did good with retention, but I also like the idea of new
Oh, you're
clients.
good at you're good at attracting.
Yeah, that was my jam.
That's why I had to pull this motherfucker in. I'm like, bro, you over here fucking golds, man, fucking pearls before swine, like fucking Northtown, fucking $50 fucking memberships, bro, fucking $10 training sessions, man. We need to get to Lifetime, bro. Right? I had to like convince and coerce and. Man, it was like fucking exit velocity. Get this motherfucker to Lifetime to leave fucking goddamn, fucking Gold's Gym.
You know what's interesting about that is the catalyst for everything that has happened in life, and it makes me think about these conversations that people may be having amongst, their tribe and their group and, not being able to be swayed one way or the other. How it's interesting, like what one decision, the ripple effect of one decision can do, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, 12 years, 15 years down the road.
And then the path you take. Because you're presented, something happens, bam, right? And then you get like these different paths to take. And then it's like, fuck, I got to pick the right path, because you can go down the other path and get worse.
Yeah.
Right? It can always be worse. It can always be better, but you just never know, right? Because the future's uncertain.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I think that with me, with whatever decision I would have chosen, I'd like to think that I would have been great, and good with that decision. But the amount of experiences that I've had now, right, that also affect who I am as an individual, I wouldn't have had one iota of that had I not made that move. Maybe I'd have a wife, and kids and the house, and that would be okay, right? That would be why I was living.
Let me tell you what it is.
Yeah.
Not to interrupt.
Yeah, no,
but just I'm out. I'm old and got so much fucking compressed data in my head that I just forget shit.
Yeah.
It's the Chuck D line.
Yeah.
Where he says, if you want to change the people around you, change the people around you.
Boom.
So like for us, right? Out Northtown to fucking the gills until 37 years old. Mm-hmm. I didn't change until I changed the people around me.
Yep.
And same thing with you. You are who you are, and you're right. You still would be Mark Harris.
Yep.
Just in a different universe.
Yeah.
But what happened was you got Mark Harris, and then orders of magnitude greater than that because of to change the environment, right?
Facts,
and now we got around some players, and now we got around some people with some influence, and now we got around some people with some money,
right?
And people who recognize that and appreciate that.
Yeah.
Like where we were from, people didn't appreciate that shit. It was dog eat dog, son. Like 1000%. Coach Curtis said back in the day when motherfucker got his bell rung in Rancho football, and I'm fucking sitting on the bench and shit, fucking probably concussed now, and them fuckers in my face like, it's dog eat dog, son. It's dog eat dog. R.I.P. Coach Curtis, motherfucker died in a car accident from a heart attack. Special teams Steelers.
That needs to be. That needs to be. That's it. That's the clip to this week's episode right there. That's that. With that intensity, right? Like that is the clip.
Just zoomed in on that shit.
Oh man,
dude. I mean, you're sitting there fucking fogged up, and man, I got fucking lit. Bro, I got lit. I'm not a big dude, man. God. Like, I don't have a big dude. Like, this is like what I was in fucking high school, and I got fucking smoked coming across the middle, man.
Yeah.
That motherfucker came to the bench and said that. I'm like, God,
that was too real. That brought me back to that moment. And I think that's the essence of good storytelling, right? Great storytelling is you can listen to this and be on that field, like getting that hit. Like the wind was knocked out of me for a little bit. I had to come back. I think that's great.
Visceral, dog.
Yeah, but you're right about that. Changing the people around you. You need to change the people around you.
But sometimes it takes getting fucking literally fucking punched in the face for that decision to happen. Like, so the only reason I ended up at Golds and then eventually ended up in Lifetime, and it goes back to your about making the right decisions, was, my brother stole on me at the gym. I had gotten fired from this accounting firm I was working at right when I started school, right when I bought a house. I mean, the timing could not have been just bought a house, right? And then just started to go back to school. And then like within a month, right? Boom, you're fired. And then, the incident happens with my brother, and I lose my 24-hour fitness, which was like, that was my life essence, man. Yeah, that was everything to me, man.
That was therapy. That was the place where you met people,
man,
right?
It was everything, man.
Yeah.
And so that's how I ended up at Golds. Norm recommended Lifetime, made the most of the situation. But my point is like, I was really down I was living with my mom. I had to move back in with my mom. So, I mean, when you're 36, 37 years old and you're starting from fucking zero, right? I got to go humble myself, go be a trainer. Thankfully, knew Eric, right? Yeah. Shout out to Eric at Golds, because I just need to get on my feet, right? So I had bottomed out, completely flatlined, don't have a degree, right? Back home, living with mom. And there's plenty of people that have these stories, so it's not unique to Mark Dupras. But it's what you do with it that's unique.
Yeah.
Right? And so us coming from there, making better decisions. Like, I could have made a decision and not had done whatever, right? I could have tried to get revenge on people. I could have stayed bitter. I could have been like, woe is me. And like we talked about, universe don't give a fuck about woe is me. Universe don't discriminate. Kids die every day for no apparent reason whatsoever. Why are we any more special than some kid that died in Africa from starvation, or someone that got a bomb dropped on them, while they're like carpet bombing Palestine, right? To kind of like flesh out Hamas. We just happen to be born in the right place at the right time. Wheezy said,
lottery.
To add to that, when I have conversations with my mom, I love that, is because I feel that when things happen to you, right, they happen for you. And it's one of these, I can allow this to define me, or I can allow this to redefine me, right? And you have to make the decision consciously and say, this is going to be where the story begins, not where the story ends. And that in and of itself is very difficult, to actually have that conversation and not feel woe is me, and not let the anxiety and the panic of, whatever decision you're faced with, get you to the point where you can't move. Because I think, like, you gotta, assess your culpability in every situation. Like, if there's an act of God, that's something different, right? Like, woe is me. You could take some time to be in that space, and I'm gonna allow that, right? And we'll have space for that. But if you have contributed to where you're at or where you don't want to be,
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't have that much patience or tolerance for that, right? Because most people aren't willing to assess their culpability and say, this is what I did over and over and over and over and over again to get to this point, right? Because there are warning signs, right? Like, it's like if the fucking plane is falling, there are certain things that are going to happen to let you know you're in grave danger. And when you get to the point where you can't even jump out the plane no more to pull the ripcord to get to safety, but you could have did that.
Yeah.
I don't know how I feel about you if I'm reading it in the paper.
Grave danger.
Do you know?
Yeah. This reminded me of, I'm sorry, A Few Good Men.
Yeah.
Where he's like, it's one of my favorite scenes, man, where like,
you can't handle the truth.
Yeah, Nicholson's on the he's being deposed, and he's like, I felt my men were in danger. And Tom Cruise is like, grave danger? And he's like, is there another kind?
But it's true. There are different degrees of danger.
You goddamn right, I ordered that code red.
That's right.
Did you order the code? You goddamn right I did.
Grave danger, man.
Tear off your head and shit down your throat.
Yeah, man.
You fucked with the wrong Marine.
That's great. We should add, like, that should be a segment in the podcast. Is like, we should just break down.
That's another 90s reference. There you go.
Yeah, classic movies and break them
that's
down.
Just good shit.
We're gonna splice that in right now.
and then bring that up to how that is important in today's
100%. I mean, there's something to be taken from anything, like you were saying.
Yeah,
you know. And I think, I probably to put a bow on this thing, right? Because we could probably talk all day, but we all got stuff to do.
Right.
What can you take away from this? I thought about this. Like, what should you take away? And so I went back to, there's this statesman called Bismarck in 19th century Germany. He was the one basically responsible for unifying the German states, right? Mm-hmm. They were Prussia before that.
Right.
And so he had this line where he says, and this just sticks with me, where he's like, and this is what if anybody who's listening to this, we're not telling you what to do. Do whatever you want to do. I don't care. Just be the best version of you, like Bruce Lee would say. It's like, fools learn from their mistakes. A wise man learns from others' mistakes. So, like, if you can listen to this, and we're humble enough to tell you where we've tripped up, where we've fallen down, where we've made mistakes, where we've been culpable, the things that we've done, right? Because I started super late in life, right? In terms of like where my success is at. And I'm like, man, if I had 20 years of accrual, where would I can't do that. I can't do counterfactuals. Mm-hmm. But I can learn from others' mistakes now, right? And then put that thing in freaking ludicrous mode, right? Like the Tesla. And so I would say, like, the biggest thing is for us is to create a cheat code, if you're listening to this, to save time. Yeah. Like, you don't have to make the same mistakes, say, like, we made. Yeah. Like, learn from our mistakes. I don't know how you guys feel about that.
I think it's great. The only ask I would have is to be open to it, because, like the old ancient texts say, like, when the student is ready, the teacher shows up, right? So that's the other part of it. Like, you can hear this and not be ready to hear it yet because you haven't had enough life experience. You haven't actually been down to your bottom of what your actual floor looks like quite yet. But be open to it.
There's probably enough people out there that hopefully if they listen to this, I think that we have enough of an audience that's probably hit rock bottom.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so it's like, it's just ROI, dude. It's like, can we provide enough intrinsic value that gives you information, that gives you ideas, and hopefully spawns like your own innovation? Like, what does that look like for you? Like, how are you going to innovate your life? Right. Does that mean go back to school? Does that mean leave an abusive relationship that you're in? Does that mean just get out of your geographic like territory that's holding you back? Weezy would always talk about crabs in a barrel, right? Yep. And we lived in an environment that was like crabs in a barrel.
Facts.
You know? Yeah. You know, it's like you drove a Charger on some 22s, motherfuckers would hate.
Man. Catch you slipping too.
Yeah, man.
That's it.
Yeah, 100%, man. Fuck around, car got keyed, or they stole the locks off the wheels. Like, you couldn't have nice shit. Tupac said that. I got to get out of the ghetto. You can't have nice shit.
Yeah, man.
They're trying to rob me.
Yeah, man. It is a trip.
So yeah, I would say, like, hopefully we create some valuable. It's an exchange of value, right?
Yeah.
Like, if you're taking time to listen to this, the knowledge is the resource that we're providing. Mm-hmm. It's up to you to turn that into information.
Yeah.
Right?
And the impetus to do what you're supposed to do and think about it and go get it before it get got.
Yes. Oh, and by the way, this episode was brought to you by Incrediwear.
Here we go.
So if you want to know why you see me running around the gym doing my Doya thing, as R. Kelly would say, free R. Kelly. Just kidding. Incrediwear. These are the best fucking knee sleeves, man. I cannot preach about these enough. It's like they're more expensive than your regular knee sleeve. But I'm telling you, put this fucker on, like you will notice the difference. And I have horrible knees. But you see me in the gym running around like I'm 18 years old.
See you guys next time. Peace.